Alright, welcome. This is going to be a shorter video. I'll do another one after this, but this is going to be a quick introduction or review of a Zbrush Boolean feature or live Boolean. Boolean allows you to do a couple of interesting things with two meshes intersecting with each other. Let's take a look. So for this, I'm gonna try it first with a very basic mesh, and then we'll do a couple of more interesting ones just to get an idea of what it actually does. So here in ZBrush, I'm gonna hit comma to make the light box go away. I'm gonna go ahead and select let's do a cylinder for this one. Okay, hold Shift T for edit. Make Polymesh 3D. Don't forget these steps. Okay, that allows you to mess with this. Over here in the subtool menu or area, I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this. I'm just doing a very quick basic setup. I'm gonna move the second subtool to the right. Make it maybe a little bit different in some way. Okay, like so. So now we have this subtool. And turn on the visibility on those, and this one, turn the visibility on. Okay, we have those two subtools. You can also alt click on them to select them. So first thing we want to do when we're dealing with Boolean features or functions is we're gonna turn on live Boolean right over here. Now remember, it's not gonna work if you don't have the other stuff set up, but live Boolean. Alright, live Boolean mode is enabled. Okay, over here on the side, some of you may remember the eye here controls visibility, the brush controls the baked in color information or material information, and then we have three other options over here, and those relate to Boolean. By default, you're gonna see two circles kind of on, not too dissimilar from this, right? It just means that they're gonna interact normally. But once we start messing with this, like perhaps selecting the second one, nothing will happen. Perhaps selecting the second one down the stack, right? Very importantly, down the stack, you can notice that the presence of one subtracts from the presence of the one above it in the stack. Okay, so I do believe the order in the stack is what makes a big difference. Generally speaking, when I mess with these, I like to just deal with two subtools. That's just my personal preference. I'm sure there are ways to deal with it in having more subtools, but just to keep it simple, and I like to keep things simple. So just two subtools. One is going to be your main mesh, and one is going to be the mesh you're going to be using to subtract from it, right? And another option that you have is your, I believe, addition or intersection. I forget what it's called, but the idea is that this one is actually going to only show the area where the two intersect, which is here, right? So this one shows both of them normally. This one cuts the presence from one out of the other, and this one only shows where the two intersect. Now the cool thing about live Boolean is that once you have it, that cylinder is still here. In fact, if we hit Shift F and go into polyframe mode, lo and behold, there it is. Okay, so that means, because it's still there, doing those changes live, right? Live, hence live Boolean. We can work non-destructively to make those changes happen until we are happy with the end result. Okay? The last step, when that is something that we are happy with, whenever we're happy with this, remember, this is just live Boolean. This is just a preview. It's not really a mesh that is that we can do anything with beyond that. So what we want to do is right here on subtool, go to the Boolean area and we click Make Boolean Mesh. After we click that, you may notice up here you have a new tool in this area. This tool actually is the Boolean mesh where the calculations have been applied. It created the new topology, which is very rarely be clean. You definitely want to continue to take care of this topology in various means through probably the safest bet on here would be a quick zero measure. Let's see, quick zero measure just to clean it up a little bit. There you go. Okay. And of course, if you want, you can keep groups. But then let's move that one out. This is where polygroups are very important. So you can do groups by normals, and then you get one normal for here, one normal for here, one normal for here, inside, outside, and then go back to geometry, the not dynamesh, zero measure, and then zero measure would keep groups, and it'll give you a slightly better result. Okay, a little funky here and there, but that's fine. Okay. Now I want to actually go over a couple of examples, or just one example of the more complicated mesh, just so that you can see how this affects different things. I'm going to turn this live Boolean off. I'm going to go and load this dog model. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, just with a more complicated mesh, so you all understand that. Imagine this is something that you're sculpting, or a bunch of different meshes that you're sticking together, right? So let's say I have this this organic form. It could be anything, right? I'm going to duplicate this, and I'll do one more thing. I'm going to insert a let's do, it doesn't really matter that much. Let's just do the star like here. It's a star dog. There you go. It's the best Halloween costume. All right. So what we're gonna do, just to be on the safe side, or actually before, let's test this. So turning on live Boolean, we should already be able to make Polymesh 3D when we load from the light box. So if we go up here and let's start intersecting things, doesn't really work the same way. Doesn't quite work the same way. Alright, does not quite work the same way. This one does something a little funky. Okay, so now the star is cutting away from this dog. Right? Because it considers the stack. Let's also make some obvious change on that second one. Just something very obvious. There, this dog is now, I don't know, doing this. There you go. It's weird, I know, but I'm just trying to make a point. Okay. So, if we do this one, it'll cut from the one below. And if we do this one, it's not going to affect the one at the top. It's just going to affect this one. Oh, there you go. And now it's affecting both of them. Okay, so it gets a little funky sometimes like that. It's not really that complicated, but for me personally, I like to just keep it very simple. Merge down. Okay, so we have this form, and we have this form, and whenever we Boolean this, or we only Boolean the ones that are down the stack, it's going to give you the forms that you want. It's going to also give you a lot of strange artifacts here and there, and it's also going to give you interesting shapes within that if you sculpted your negative space, you can control. Last thing I want to show on this video is how to get rid of something like this. For this purpose, we will go back to Boolean, make Boolean mesh, and now we have now make sure keep that top one, make Boolean mesh. Yeah, I guess I did create both of them. It doesn't matter. fine. So whenever you get weird floating kind of polys like this, what I like to do is make sure that what I want to keep is going to be the same poly group, or at least visible, right? And we can do this a couple of different ways. We can go to poly groups and hit auto groups, and what that's going to do is it's going to make everything that's a continuous form one poly group. So this is one poly group, this is one poly group, right? The front of the dog and the back of the dog, this is one, all of this is one poly group, this is all one poly group, and each one of those floating islands are one poly groups, okay? And what that allows us to do is with Control Shift, we can isolate, and then we have this hidden. We can do this to flip, and now we only have those two remaining visible, and from here we can go to geometry, modify topology, and del hidden right here, delete hidden, okay? That's one approach. Another approach is, of course, if you are if you're interested in keeping those interfaces, because there's value to that, right? Remember what we talked about with visibility, okay? So if you want to keep those inner poly groups and not lose your current ones, and you know you have two major groups, and you can very, very simply just unhide this, unhide this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to hide both of those. Then I'm going to flip it around, and now remember Control Shift X to expand, Control Shift S to shrink, or Control Shift A to select all of them. And now we have all of those bits selected, but those floating islands gone. And from here we can hit del hidden without needing to change our poly groups. Those are two quick options. Hopefully that helps. And yeah, the Boolean tool is very, very interesting, and I strongly recommend you get familiar with it. There's a lot of cool things you can do with it. All right. See you all next week.